but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hello guys and welcome back to new wood tutorial, and in this episode I will show you how you can build up your tier 5 factory from wood, and I will show you how you can build it up and what you will need for it and what you can do with your wood T5 factory. And I would say the first thing we can take a look is in our wood guide book. And if we take a look, we can see that we, under basics, under factory tiers, what we exactly need for our tier 5 factory. We need for all factories, we need a heart, a primary base, a coordinator cell, ingredient importer, and a loot exporter. And we need, if we take a look, we need for the Magister tier 5 factory, we need 10 times amaranth blocks, the 70 times amber blocks, 24 times celadon blocks, and so on. And I already have all of these blocks in my inventory, so we are clear there. And if you begin with wood, you need to make sure that you have enough essence. So maybe it is important for you that you have already created a tier 1 factory, a tier 2 factory, and so on. Because if we take a look, not like this, we can see that some recipes for the Cerulean block or for the Byzantium block, for example, there you need some essence out of the wood factory. These essence you will get if you have a specific perk installed on your wood factory. With a little chance you will get the essence out of it. Okay, and we will start with the heart. We already created in a older video a tier 1 factory, and we will we will also start with a factory tier 1 in this case. So we have a heart, and we need to use an intern like that, and we set up our intern on our specific factory what we want to create. So I have set up the factory tier 1, so we can build up our factory like this, and we need at least a controller and a coordinator cell. So the coordinator cell is always on the bottom side, and that's correct, and we need a mob controller. In this case I will use the zombie mob controller and place it over the primary base, and we can see that our factory is already working. But for working we need Conatus fluid, and this Conatus fluid we can produce in a fluid vat from a wood. For that we need some water and these ingredients, and out of that we will get some purge fluid, and this purge fluid combined with energy and redstone dust, for example, we can combine to Conatus fluid. We can also use, instead of a redstone dust, we can use some air sensors from our wood factory. So that's how we can get some Conatus fluid. In my case I use a creative tank. So that means I use some creative items. You need to make sure that you have enough Conatus fluid in production. Okay, so we have Conatus fluid, and if I install a chest like this, we can see that we are producing some rotten flesh, for example, and so on. So our chest is prepared. Our wood farm is prepared, I think. So we need to wait up for the progress bar here like this, and we can see that we already have one rotten flesh. Very good. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we want to upgrade our factory. In my case, I already have all resources for the tier 5 factory, but you can also use it to only upgrade from tier 2 or tier 1 to tier 2 and so on. And we use the intern, shift right click, and we can set up the factory we want to build up. And we go back to our heart, and we right click and we can see that our intern is now building up the factory tier 5. That's correct. Factory T5 is building, and you can also use over the hard layout guide. But I think the layout guide isn't working that good, so I use the intern instead of the layout guide, and we already built it up in our Factory T5. That's very good. Okay, we can take a look. We can see that we have filled in some Conatus fluid. We have installed one mob controller, and we can take a look what we can do now with our factory. Okay, and in our inventory we have only 3 mob controller left. We can install more than 1 mob controller on our wood factory, so we need to go on each side to the secondary base. So if we install on each side mob controller, we can find these mob controller in a few seconds in our interface here, like that. We can see now we have a zombie mob controller, a skeleton mob controller, a wither skeleton mob controller, and a cow mob controller. Very good. Okay, and what we can also do is installing some perks. These perks have some advancements for your factory. So for example, use less Conatus fluid. So if you want to use the Stoke the Boiler free perk, you will not need that much Conatus fluid, for example. You can also change the looting level. You can also use this the amount of monster which will spawn each tick or each process, and there are also some combinations with other mobs modifications, for example, blood magic or industrial foregoing, the freaking laser beams, for example, or the flayed free perk, and so on. And I will show you how you can install these different types of perks. I will use in my example for this video, I will use 2 kind of perks. I will use the Scale the Summit perk, so you need to make sure that you have each tier of this perk to get the maximum of the... Okay, let me take a look. We need this one instead of the Stoke the Boiler free. Okay, you need to make sure that you have each tier to get the highest tier of this perk. So we will go to our perk slot, install the first tier, install the second tier, and at least we will install the last tier. So we have created, if we wait a moment, we can see that we have installed the Scale the Summit free perk, so that we create more essences through this for mob controllers. Okay, and what we can also do is we can also install a second perk to increase the number of mobs spawning. Actually, we should have 1 mob is spawning at each time. We don't see that here. Okay. But we can use it Rampage 1, Rampage 2, Rampage 3, and we can go back to our heart and we can see that we have nothing actually. Okay, now with the Rampage 3 perk we can see that we are spawning actually 6 mobs zombies, 6 mobs skeletons, 6 mobs cows, and so on, and that means that our chest should be fuel in a few seconds. Okay, and we can see that we already have some essence to create new Conatus fluid. Okay, very good. And the next thing we want to take a look is that we can also install in Nocharan key. So that means these keys you can find in End City loot chests, where very rare, and yeah, some kind of keys are very strong. So in this case you have a fixed spawn time of 20 seconds, and I will show you how it works. can take a look. If we use our heart, we can see spawn time every 320 ticks. And if I place the Enoch key over the heart, we can see that we have a spawn time from 20 ticks, and we can take a look how much we get into our chest. That's very OP, I think. I killed my farm. Okay, but that's not a big not a big problem, because we can also use our intern like that, and we can rebuild our factory very easily. Very good. Okay, and the last thing we want to take a look is firstly I need to clear up our chest like this a little bit. Okay, and this and this and this. Okay, so that we have some loot, some new loot. Okay, and the next thing we want to take a look is if we place in a Wither mob controller. What does it mean? We can replace it. We can replace each mob controller what we want. So we can replace it and collect this mob controller and change the mob controller to Wither. So if we take a look, we can see that we are having now our Wither. Oh, actually not. Now we have the Wither. Okay, and we can see that our spawn time is increasingly high. So you need to make sure that you have mob controllers working which have the exact, nearly exact same spawn time. So in this case, our cow mob controller with a skeleton controller or our skeleton controller is a little bit useless, because the spawn time is a lot. Because our Wither mob controller, and we need a lot of Conatus fluid in this case. So if you have some troubles with that, you can easily upgrade your Conatus fluid cell like this. Just replace it, and we can rebuild it with the blue one. Okay, and yeah. So, and if we take a look at our heart, we can see that we need some ingredients for our Wither farm. So we need 12 Wither skeleton skulls and 16 soul sand. So we need to make sure that our factory will become these items. So we go to our ingredient importer, place a chest like this, and we can fill in the soul sand and Wither skeleton skulls like this, and we can take a look what happens. Now we need to wait 30%, and we will get another star here, and we will see that we have losing our soul sand and our Wither skeleton skulls. And yeah, that should be all, I think, but we take a look. Yeah, and you can see we have 4 nether stars, and we have 16 soul sand and so on. And yeah, if we take a look, we can see that our Rampage 3 perk will spawn instead of 1 Wither, 4 Wither. And yeah, and with all perks and keys, you can easily upgrade your wood farm to get a lot of nether stars or dragon crystals or something else what you want, or dragon hearts, what you want to create with your wood farm. Thanks for watching, and bye.